It's really important to have the end in mind when we start. So whilst we're talking about this stage is post the sale, it's really critical that you've got an understanding about the role that you want to play as a business owner in the business, if any at all. Through the transition period, so there will always be a handover period where you're investing time in ensuring that the business acquirer understands the business and understands the nuance, perhaps gets an introduction to the clients or the key clients of the business. So you're always going to have that role to play, which is transitioning. I think you have to be very clear around whether you want a role in the first instance and not, and how much of a role you want. Quite often, the patriarch of a business, someone who's sold out, can have a very important role to play. We call it an LDC role, lunches, dinners and cocktail parties. Their presence is quite often important. It's overlooked. It's done very well in the legal profession, not so well in others, and I think there's a real scope for business owners who have sold out of the business to still maintain a bit of an involvement in terms of that interrelationship with clients, and so that can be a very valuable ally to the acquirer of the business in ensuring that the clients are comfortable that there's a continuity that's around. So something that should be thought about. Most business owners spend most of their lives working in their business. Okay, when that stops, it needs to be replaced, and so you need to think very carefully on a personal level around, well, what are you going to do? What is going to replace the time, the energy, the intellectual input that you've had into your business? Now, I'm a golfer, and I'd quite happily play golf, but I wouldn't play golf 5 days a week. So the reality is you've got to find stuff that intellectually challenges you, you find that you can invest the time in, and things that will stop you getting bored once you're out of that business. And one of the things that is important is quite often contracts will have some things that need to be attended to as part of the sale. Otherwise, there's a reduction in conditions. One of the most obvious ones is that quite often business is sold on a basis we pay a bit at the front and we pay a bit 12 months down the track, and it's subject to a range of things. It can be subject to the client base remaining, it can be subject to the levels of revenue being retained, it might be subject to the level of profitability maintained. So it's important that if you've got these conditions in a contract, that you're in a position to influence those. So if you are going to have those sorts of constraints on the conditions, you need to ensure that there's some balance to it, that things can't materially alter, or if things impact those conditions which are outside your control but are driven by activities of the acquirer, then you need to ensure that the contract terms have covered those off. So you just need to be careful that where you have some capital at risk, that there are steps in place to protect that risk or to mitigate that risk where you can have an involvement in it. If I'm going to sum up how to get the best outcome around the sale of your business, I think the first and most important part is the preparation, the strategic planning that goes into it. Then attention to detail around the preparation, having skilled people assist you in the bid and negotiation process, and ensuring the clear understanding of how you're going to exit the business and the transition role that you're going to play is dealt with at the start. If you get those key elements right, then you're going to have a very successful outcome. Thanks for taking the time to watch the videos. I hope you found them useful. If you'd like to take the next step and talk to us about your plans and your specific goals, then please either give us a call at the office or send us an email at bob@seaviewconsulting.com.au. Thanks again.